Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem video. It's a postmortem of my Blitz chess game number 84 where I played d4 and my opponent went into kind of Slav defense by a roundabout move order. So he plays c6 here, and if I follow up with e4 then it's a Caro-Kann. When I follow up with c4 there's still a bunch of different things it could turn into. If d5 immediately turns it into a Slav, knight f6 is still it's an undefined opening at this point as far as I know. So knight c3 and then g6. So I figure I can continue with e4, and it looks like, well, I just want to say after d5, once again going into a Slav, since he didn't play that, we're in a pretty rare opening line here, and we stay in this line until we end it in a few moves. So e4 is the only move in the book there. But it seems reasonable. And after d5, I can play e5, kicking this knight and just gaining space and blunting the bishop on g7. So it looks like the book move here is knight to e4, which is definitely a more active move than what he played, which was knight to g8. The knight on e4 is in danger of being trapped, so I guess it's the kind of thing you wouldn't play unless you're pretty sure of your opening theory at this point. I guess he can always escape by taking the knight, but from e4 he has actually no squares he can go back to. That's covered by the bishop, and these squares are covered by pawns, so all he can do is go forward. And so if you were to remove this target and then kick the bishop, maybe you could kick the knight, maybe you could win it. But anyway, he played knight g8, and then we'll just look at the notation tab here. I'm going to leave the engine turned off, but there were some interesting tactics, quite a few missed tactics along the way, so we'll have some quiz opportunities for you. But the engine thinks that white is doing excellently along here. And you can see why. It's got more space in the center, an advantage in development, and it's even a little bit tricky for black to find space for all his pieces. So I'm just trying to keep my pieces posted and in a good spot. And I wasn't thinking too much about tactics. If I had been, I might have noticed this one. So it's white's turn to move here, and there's a great tactic here, and it's very common and thematic kind of tactic, so you guys should spot this one. Okay, if you haven't spotted it yet, pause the video and take a look at it, see if you can figure it out. I'm going to give it away. It's just simple, the old bishop takes f7 trick. King takes, and then knight here check. And the king can't come to this square to attack the knight. His only squares are here or here, and then the queen grabs the bishop. So you get your piece back, you're up a pawn, and the king has lost his castling privileges, and his pawn structure is weakened on the king side. So really an excellent position for white. Another interesting highlight here is, you know, I had been thinking of playing the move h3 to kick the bishop immediately, and I thought, oh, well, that won't be good because he will take and I will take and the queen will take here. And so I had envisioned this much, and I overlooked the fact that, once again, f7 is a weakness. So I can play queen takes f7 check and pick up a whole piece there if he were to play that way. So, so anyway, that means the pawn is perfectly safe after queen takes f3. He's got to do something to deal with this threat on f7. And this would also be an excellent position for white. So I really missed those. I just meekly defended this pawn here and wasn't very alert. I guess I was still sleeping during this game. Still sleepy. So we went down this line, and white still has an advantage. It's just that I missed my chance for the best play. He immediately put up this move e6 and killed these ideas of the f7 sack. But there's another chance up here. Yeah, after I take back and his queen has to move, it's my move again. And his pieces are still somewhat disorganized. So there's no real tactic here, but there's one good move, and there's the move that I played, which is not the best move. So just look at the position and decide what the best move for white is here. Okay, pause the video if you want some time to think about it. I'm going to give the answer away. The answer is just queen f6. It hits the rook, and there's no way to defend the rook, so it's going to have to move, and the king will lose his castling privileges on the king side. And the queen side is kind of messed up. He probably doesn't want to attack castle that way anyway. So this was just a chance for the queen to get to f6 with tempo before his knight had gone here. And after he moves the rook, you can play a move like, bishop to b4, harassing his knight, and you just get a good active position. And you know, his king is stuck in the middle and somewhat awkwardly placed. So this would be good for white, so that's the way to play it. I just played rook fd1, a routine developing move. But you got to watch out for these, really. You should be, I mean, you do your developing moves when you don't have something better to do, basically. If you've got a tactic that wins the game, you should play that, even if you have to suffer a little bit from lack of development. Anyway, I just continued normal development here. So it's not like I'm losing here. It's actually still an advantage to white. He's got the two bishops and a slightly better central pawn structure. So a little more influence. Even after this exchange where I lose the bishop pair, still thinks white is pretty good. And this move, rook c8, was a mistake, actually. And now there's a good move for white here. So here's your third tactical quiz here. Or quiz. I guess the second one wasn't tactical so much, but this one is. What's a good move for white? Okay, if you haven't got it, pause the video and think about it some. I'm going to give the answer away now. It's the move d5. I'm taking advantage of this pin here. He can't take back because this rook is undefended. You take with check, you actually win two rooks. And so if he takes a pawn, he probably should take it, you can take back with the rook. Because again, if he takes the rook, you'll win this rook and that rook in the corner, so you'll be a piece up. So he can't take the rook, and what can he do? If he does a nothing kind of move, for example, if he moves a pawn, you have this neat trick here. Rook takes, d7, king takes, queen here, check. And this is total devastation. You've sacked the exchange, but you have this passed pawn. His king is on the run here, and he's just losing big time. You know, if his king goes back, you've got the rook check on the d file. So things are just falling apart for white there. And if we go back a little bit, if he plays the best move, which is probably queen c7, I think the computer recommended, then you can just play your rook to d6 and triple on this guy, which you can't easily defend. If he moves the knight back to defend it, then you get your queen to f6 once again, and all this is really good. An excellent position for white once again. And yeah, I guess he has to move his knight here because you're threatening to take on f7 again. So it's a knight b8 is probably forced, and then you can play queen f6. So with an excellent position for white. So that would be a really good move there. So right here, just pushing ahead with d5, taking advantage of the pin, and getting your rooks active if he takes back. So that's the way to play it. Missed that one too. I played queen e4. I was defending this pawn and thinking of maybe pushing the f-pawn forward. Didn't think about the d-pawn push. And a little later I had this idea after doubling that I was going to double the rooks and push that maybe, but I never get to that point. I got distracted somewhere along here and played this tactic, bishop takes e6. So this is not a horrible tactic. It's not the best move here, though. Computer recommends h4 or rook to f6, just putting more pressure on the f7 pawn. So, but taking here gives me some chances. So the computer rates this as only slightly favorable to black, not like a huge advantage. King h8, and rook f3 maybe was not the best way to proceed. The computer was recommending continuing with rook d to c1. So after rook f3, one of the reasons why this was a problem is that black has a good tactic right here. So pause the video, take the point of view of black for a second. What's a good, it's black's turn to move, what's a good move for black? Okay, I'm going to give the answer away here. If you haven't got it and you want to think about it some, pause the video. The answer is knight takes d5, taking advantage of this pin. My rook is undefended, so if I take his knight, I'm just losing my rook, so I'm just losing the exchange. But at the same time, my rook is under attack, and if I do queen takes, he can take with the queen, and I take back, and he still wins the rook. So this is just excellent position for black. So this move, that's why this move rook f3 wasn't the best move. We back up here. That's the computer's recommending rook d c1 there. Okay, but I played rook f3. He played rook f8. So he missed his chance, and I defend my rook. He takes, and then he plays the other rook to f8. And this second rook f8 was a mistake, actually. So black is winning here, and after here, white is winning with the right move. So once again, put on your tactical thinking caps, and what's a good move? There's actually two good moves for white, but it's the same idea. So that's your clue. Okay, if you want more time to think about it, pause the video. I'm going to give the answer away. One of the moves is rook to rook f7 there, and pinning the knight and threatening to take it. So he exchanges, and now the knight is still pinned, and you're threatening to push this pawn forward. No, not that way, this way. And the queen moves out of the way. You move the pawn forward anyway. If the knight moves, you get to move it again with tempo. So with the two central passed pawns and the black's king out of play over here, and the knight in a somewhat awkward position, this is actually winning for white. And the other idea, instead of coming rook f7, you can actually just go queen e7 directly. And with the same idea, you want to follow up with the move e6, taking advantage of this pin on the knight. And if he trades, you take back with the pawn over here. Your pawn structure is not going to be an issue if you can win with your passed pawns in the center. So I think this might have been, after rook f8, this might have been my last chance to get a really strong winning advantage. So he played, I played rook to c3 here, just getting out of take, trying to preserve my pieces and attacking. And after this move here, it's still about an even game. He probably didn't need to give away that c-pawn. I didn't check that out. But somewhere along here, right here, yeah. So with my rolling pawns, I'm actually, and the fact that he gave away the c-pawn, I once again have an advantage here. But I needed to play the move f4 here to defend that pawn. For some reason, I just did not think of it during the move, during the game, and I pushed ahead with e6. I was threatening. That pawn was threatened, so I had to do something about it. But this lets his king in, and I do my best to keep the king out, but I can't really stop it, and I lose my pawns. And now black is just winning, and the game goes on for quite a bit. So we'll sort of fast forward through these moves. I'm fighting, but he's picking up my pawns one by one, which is what you do when you have the extra piece against the pawns. And yeah, at this point, he's just a piece up. And now, coming up here, there's a neat finish. Which I have to admit, right here, yeah. So I resigned after his next move, but hopefully you all see the mate in too here. Okay, I've given it away, but it's a pretty mate, and everyone should know this. So the knight check forces the king to the corner, and then rook here is checkmate. This is one of the Arabian mates, because the old Arabian version of chess had the knight and the rook with the same moves that we have today. The queen moved differently, but the knight and the rook had the same moves. So this was a mate that was possible in that version of chess. So this is called the Arabian mate. So the knight defends the rook and guards the escape square of the king. And so that's how it would have finished if I played it out. So a lot of cool tactics on that one. I guess that's what happens when you're playing badly. You get lots of interesting tactics. So hopefully I'll be able to spot a few of those in my next game. And leave any comments you have in the section below. I'll see you all again next time. Bye.